Yo guys, it's your boy VGOK here. I hope you're all doing amazing and are trading safely in the markets. And I'm actually finally back with another video. Now, you guys have probably been wondering, where the hell has VGOK been? Why has he not been posting on YouTube? Now, first things first, my apologies to you guys for making you guys wait, but trust me, it's for a good reason. I've been working hard and planning on something extra juicy for you all, which I'm going to be going into more detail at the end of this video. So please do stay tuned and keep watching till the end. So moving on to the subject of today's video, as you can see from the title, it's another case study video where I'm going to be going through a full trade breakdown of a 1 to 14 risk to reward ratio on GBPUSD, which was executed within New York session on the 28th of May, and it was a buy scenario. So here we have the actual screenshots of the before, during, and after of the actual trade scenario which I had. So as we can see from here, we can see the before photo, and what we can see is the buy position I was looking to place was off of this last 1 minute institutional candle after reacting from a previous 30-minute point of interest, which is this purple box, which I'll show you guys in a bit. Then as we can see, as price approaches our entry, I've also highlighted the main significant structural points within this downtrend. So the significant lower highs and lower lows within this downtrend, and you can see the last significant lower high to be broken was this one in blue that I've circled here. Once that was broken, we then had confirmation, we then had validity to go for this buy scenario. And here we have it coming into the area. It did go into a bit of drawdown, but the stop loss was not breached, so we were all good. And as you can see, it went off into profit and continued to go off. And this was the final take profit point at that around that TP level of 1.425. I actually took profit slightly underneath 425, set my TPs just below, just in case it never actually triggered it. But I'll be going into detail on that in a bit for you guys. So jumping straight into the analysis now for this trade breakdown, I'm going to be going back in replay mode just to show you guys the actual trade breakdown and the points of interest which I had, so we can actually see the price action in a lot more detail. So just jumping back into the replay mode right now and jumping into the 30-minute time frame. The movement which that I had caught for this 1 to 14 trade was this movement from this area here, about 1.41413. So around this region here, and this movement up was the trade that I had caught. So first things first, the 28th of May was this day over here, and what we can see from before, from the previous day's price action on the 30-minute time frame, we had this really nice institutional candle within here, which had been created, and I wanted to treat that as my point of interest candle, my point of interest sort of zone. Now the reason why this was a really good area for me was mainly because we can see that is the last sell before buy candle. So it's a really good institutional candle, and that's the one that this the last sell before buy candle before the break of structure happened. The break of structure happened over here. We can see that supply was in power here, there was a downtrend that was in power here, and then this movement up was the one that took it out and continued it into an uptrend. And also this could also be seen as a rally-based rally scenario. We can see that we have a rally in this white candle, we have the base acting as this 30-minute bearish black candle here, and then the rally coming up taking out previous supply. So it's a rally-based rally formation as well, which you could also look at it in that way. So we've established our point of interest, and what we want to be doing next is watching how price approaches the zone so we can gather our trade ideas. So just cutting price off again around here. So we want to be watching how price can approach our 30-minute point of interest, which we've already established, and we want to be watching this shorter time frame, the smaller time frame price action as it approaches. So, you know, we could be jumping down into the 15, the 5, the 3, and the 1. In this scenario, I was looking at the 1 minute time frame just to get the most detail on the market structure that was being formed on its way down to the POI. So as we can see from the London session open, and even from early pre-London session, we can see market was making a downwards move, and it did break structure to the downside down here. In London session open around 8 a.m. British time, we can see that it came back up to this area, mitigated this area very nicely, and continued to move downwards in that downtrend style. And as we follow the price, we'll be able to watch how it approaches the zone. And as it's progressing, we can see that it's quite flat in this moment here, and then it starts to break downwards. And we are still waiting, we're still being very patient, waiting for it to get into our point of interest, which is there. And I've paused it there, and then now we can actually analyze and see where these lower highs and lower lows really were in this downtrend. So just zooming in to the more recent downtrend price action coming into the zone, what we can see and what I'm going to be doing now for you guys is marking out the lower highs and lower lows, the significant lower highs and the significant lower lows within this region. So we have the high, a low, this lower high, we have which created a lower low, then had another lower high, which went on to create a lower low, then have another lower high, and then another lower low, and then it carries on another lower high, lower low, lower high, and lower low. Now, out of all of those, the one that was broken, the one that was significant was this one. And after it touched our zone, after we touched our point of interest, we had a big movement up, a strong movement up, indicating that the demand in this area was very strong. And this was the last significant lower high to be broken, which is what I've labeled out in this screenshot here. So once we had that movement away from the zone, once we've seen the positive break of structure away, that bullish break of structure, we are then happy to place our buy entries off of this last 1 minute institutional candle. It's a good sell before buy candle. It's reacted well into a previous demand zone, a previous point of interest, and we can also see that it's taken out some degree of liquidity just below in here as well. So we can see that there was some degree of, they weren't exactly equal, but there were lows in there. There was a candle that took out these lows, and then it did have a strong reaction to the upside. So there we have our confirmation to be entering off this 1 minute institutional candle, having stop loss just at the bottom there, so around 7.5 pips stop. Around a 7.5 pip stop, and then our TP, which I'm going to be going over in a bit. So we'll put it here for now, and then I'll go into more detail, and then just forwarding the price. Now, as it enters our trade, as it gets into our entry, what we can see, what is created once again, is another sell to buy scenario, another sort of sell to buy movement, coming into our zone. So there was another area here for re-entries. So, basing entries off of this next candle that was created, or this next 3 consecutive candles which were created, you'd be looking to have your entries somewhere within this zone for the re-entries. So using that, we can have our entries within here somewhere. Stop loss again below this low. So again, we're looking at a similar stop loss, 7 pip stop loss, 7 to 8 pip stop loss, and then extending price further. And then, as we can see, when we forward the price, and notice here that after this movement up from our original entry happened, it actually closed above, it went above this area here, went above this significant lower high, indicating that we should be able to definitely punch higher after we get into this zone and carry on going higher. And if I extend that out, we can see that the entry was hit quite nicely. Now, depending on how you're entering, if you're setting limits, you may not have got entered, but for me personally, I've been market executing a lot more just so I ensure that I'm actually within this trade. And as you can see from this movement, from this entry area, we did have a very good positive movement away from our entry and into profit. So that was how I caught the entry. And then in terms of looking at the TP side of this trade, we can see, we're in a very, looking at the higher time frame, even on the 30-minute we were originally looking at, we had this downtrend happening within here. We had a high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. And this movement up on that previous day actually broke this structure here. The break of structure to the upside was valid because it went above this significant lower high, which was this point here. So we should be looking to at least target at a minimum, this structural point here. So this structure point here that it made, and that was a 1 to 9 for that first sort of TP. But looking at where price could eventually go up to, and there was no previous price to look at. So there were two scenarios which you could have done here. The one that I did, the way that I established my final TP, was looking at a psychological number or a quarter level that is also known as within these areas. So quarter level that I was looking at within this area, and the one that was closest in this area was that 1.42500 level, which is around here. So extending this to the 42500 level, so about there-ish, and this one as well to the 425 level, about there-ish. You can see that it hit that 1 to 14 risk reward ratio. And another way to be looking at this was you could be using the Fibonacci extensions on the retracement. So we know that the impulsive move was from here to here. So from here to here, we had a retracement. It came into the 61.8 retracement level. And looking at where that 425 level actually lines up with, it's just below the negative 27% extension levels on the fib. And I have in the past used these extension levels as profit-taking areas. So usually I don't normally take it at the 27. I usually just go slightly below, so around the 24%. So if I go onto the actual, I change that to 24. We can see that 24 lies exactly on that 425. That negative 24% extension level lies exactly on that 425. So we've got multiple confirmations of taking good profits in that area, or even slightly below, just to secure the bag. And as we can forward the price, we can see it eventually goes on. I believe this trade was executed on a Friday, so we had to wait. I was holding over the weekend, which I don't usually do, but in this case, I was in a decent amount of profit by market close on Friday, so I decided to hold it, and then by Monday, we can see we had another influx of price over there, and it went on to hit that final TP very accurately indeed. So that was how I caught that 1 to 14 risk to reward ratio. So there we have the full breakdown of this 1 to 14 trade idea on GBPUSD. Now for the announcement, which I know you guys have been waiting for this whole video. As you guys have probably realized by now, it's been a fairly long time since my previous upload, and that's because in that whole time I've actually been planning and creating all the resources and learning documents needed for the next series of videos. Now the next series of these videos, they're not going to be like the usual videos which I've been posting. The usual ones that I've been posting have been the case studies. Now, alongside the case studies, I'm also going to be making a series of concept-based videos for you guys, which will be much more educational and hopefully much more beneficial to you too in your learning. Now, the sort of topics that you guys can expect, I'm going to be covering stuff like Wyckoff schematics, market structure, top-down analysis, fractals, a whole host of topics which I know you guys have been asking for a lot for a while now in all the comments and messages to me. So with that being said, I'm super excited to drop some new educational concept videos for you all. I hope you're going to really enjoy them, and I know I'm going to enjoy making them for you. Also, I hope you guys have definitely really enjoyed and learned from this video, and if you did, please like, share and subscribe, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video for more of that trading sauce.